Hey guys, this is Victoria. I thought I would do a video blog post this week because, oh my gosh, so much has been happening in my life, and it's just going to be so much easier to tell you all this way than it is to type it out. So I'll just get started. So the last month and a half or so, I've been pretty sick. So much so that I haven't gone to a lot of, I haven't been able to participate in a lot of my vocal studies. I was sick for the last week of September, and it started like on a Monday, and by Friday I was feeling pretty good. And so one of my friends who is an RA on campus as well as I am on my staff, she asked me to take her duty shift on Friday night, and I had a drill the next morning. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. I'll have a couple hours to sleep before drill. That's totally fine. But I actually miscounted how many hours I would have to sleep before drill, and it turned out to only be one. To make a long story short, I stayed up for 36 hours to stay up for duty to participate in the change of command ceremony, and it was crazy. It didn't help me at all. I was coughing so much. I actually didn't participate in the real change of command ceremony. I did like the rehearsal, and then my first sergeant was like, "You're no, I don't think so." And then afterwards, I went to my boyfriend's house because he lived closer to that base, and we went to church, and we were going to go out to dinner afterwards. I wore heels to church. I was like, we're still going out. It's still happening. He was like, sure, whatever. So we go to church, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep during the message, and I've never fallen asleep before at church. I want to be a pastor, so I was like, no. Yeah, so it was definitely a strenuous time, and my sickness only got worse from there. Maybe a week later, I was diagnosed with bronchitis, and that stayed around for a couple weeks. I wasn't able to take my PT test for my Army unit, and I'm still struggling with like these symptoms. I went to the emergency room on Monday this past week, which was lovely, and I couldn't I couldn't breathe without pain in my chest here, in the back of my upper back, and in the lower part of my back too. And so that had been an escalated symptom. And so I went to the emergency room, and they diagnosed me with an upper respiratory infection and something called pleurisy. Both mean I have sharp pain while breathing, which is great when you're a singer and studying music and in an army band as a singer. It's really like top notch, guys. So I'm feeling a little bit better. I do have an inhaler and a ton of antibiotics. So if this isn't clear, I think I'll have superpowers by the end. So that'd be kind of cool. Hopefully, I'll pass my PT test on the 11th of November. I'd love some prayer about that if you are one who prays. But I wanted to talk to you all about what God has been doing in my life in this sickness, like in this battle I'm having. And it's crazy that like sometimes you think you are so deep in a situation that God just isn't there. And that's not true. God is always in your boat. Today at church, I go to Next Level Church in Concord, New Hampshire. We have a ton of locations, like I think 11 or something like that. Our main central location is in Somersworth, and we have an awesome lead pastor. His name is Josh Gagnon. He preached an amazing sermon today, and I will put that link in an edited version of this post because they don't post them until Monday. So I will put that up here so you guys can see that. But he was talking about fear today and where exactly our fears come from and what our fears tell us. So one thing I did want to point out that he had told us about was, my notes here, why we struggle with fear. And that is because we have a limited amount of control. If you're someone who likes control, you probably have a lot of anxiety in your life because you can't control everything around you. And you fear the things that you can't control. And one thing that really stuck with me was when he asked, how do you know what you value in life? And he said to look at your checkbook and look at your fears. So the first thing I thought of at checkbook, I was like, wow, I really value food. I spend so much money on food. And when I look at my fears, I fear about money. I am a college student. I'm actually like well off as a college student. I don't pay tuition. I don't pay for my room. I'm an RA. And I saved up a lot of money and took a year off and worked full time. Yet it's still like there. It's still fear. And I have a fear of passing my PT test because I didn't get to take it on the 14th of October when I was supposed to because I had bronchitis. And now I have an upper respiratory infection and pleurisy. I'm supposed to take it on the 11th. So I have a big fear of that because if I don't pass the PT test, I could get kicked out. So I would lose my health insurance, my free tuition, a sense of what I want to do with my life because I want to stay in the military for a long time. So yes, that is a fear of mine. So something that God has been doing in my life this week has been giving me little like amazing bits just to get me through. And it's amazing when I look back. I'm like, man, God was really in my boat. He was there. The boat thing, I wanted to explain that, was in Mark 4:35 through 41. This is where Jesus calms a storm in the Sea of Galilee. Him and his 12 disciples are in a boat. They were at one point in the Sea of Galilee and they were trying to cross over. And the Sea of Galilee is actually 696 feet below sea level, which means that it causes sudden storms all the time, winds, waves, everything. And so there was so much water like getting into this boat, and Jesus was asleep, like on a cushion at the end of the boat. And the disciples woke him up, and they were like, "Jesus, don't you care? We're gonna die." And he woke up and he goes, "Do you have no faith in me at all?" And he calms the storm and he calms the winds. And what I wanted to point out here was that Jesus being asleep shows a lack of fear. He had no fear of these storms. Obviously, he's Jesus. Like, it was crazy. And these disciples literally saw Jesus with their own eyes in their own boat, and they still had fear. So, of course, we're still going to have fear. We can't physically see Jesus, but he's inside us. The Holy Spirit is with us all the time. He's always in our boat. And there were a couple ways that I wanted to talk about that God really reminded me that he was in my boat this week. So I was in line at Rite Aid, the pharmacy, to get some prescriptions for my lovely sickness. And I was looking at my Facebook app on my phone, and I'd been sharing a bunch of posts from this dress company, like, oh, share this post and like and comment your size, and you could win this dress. They had like 2 or 3 every day. So I mean, for like 3 days straight, I was like, share, 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 comment, love, love, kite, like, whatever. And I won one. I won a dress. I was like, oh my gosh! And I like literally screamed out loud in line at Rite Aid. So a few people like looked at me and I was like, you know what, whatever. Like, God is so here. This is crazy. It was just like something I really needed. And then yesterday, my friend called me. She's also an RA on campus. She lives in a different living style. So she's in an apartment style and I'm in a non-traditional style. So we cross-train a lot. And she called me in tears. And she was like, I lost this dog 2 years ago and I thought she was dead. Like, she hasn't been, like, we haven't found her for 2 years. And she lives in Effingham, New Hampshire. That's where her family's from, so about an hour, hour and a half from here. And she said she got a call from Laconia Animal Shelter. Shout out to Laconia Animal Shelter, keeping on track with finding lost dogs. That they had found her dog. They weren't 100% sure. The dog doesn't have a microchip, so they wanted her to come down and make an ID of the dog. And so she's like crying, and she's like, "What if it isn't her?" And I was just like, "What if it is? You're not gonna not go. Come on, you have to go." So I held the duty phone for her while she did go down there, and a couple hours went by and I hadn't heard anything, and Laconia is only a half hour from here, so I was like, I should probably check in on her. And so I texted her and I was like, girl, I just want to let you know I'm praying for you. I'm praying that this is your dog. Like, how amazing and miraculous would that be? That this dog, after 2 years, has made its way back to you. And I didn't hear anything back. And so I just sat down. I was feeling sick from my antibiotics. And I was laying in bed and I was just praying like continuously for like 10 minutes. And I was like, God, please just let this be her dog. Like, she needs this. Oh my gosh. Please, this would just be like the icing on the cake for her. This cake that is very dry and just, it needs icing, Lord. And a half hour after that, she texted me and she was like, my eyes are so puffy. It's her. It's my dog. This is my dog. And I wasn't surprised, honestly. I was like, I know. I asked for it. And she was just like, I can't believe it. And it was such a little blessing on me, even though like it wasn't my blessing. It's so good to see prayers answered. And it's so good when they're quick. Oh, sometimes they're not, and you know what? You just gotta have patience in that. But I wanted to share what was going on in my life this week. If you have any questions about anything I talked about, I'm going to post the link to the sermon on fear that was spoken for at Next Level Church this weekend. I'll post that once it goes live on Monday. So there'll be an edit to this blog post. I might just put it in the comments if that's easier. So please take a look at that. If you ever any have questions about the church I go to, it is amazing. We have a worship band, and it is something else. Maybe I'll do my next blog post on Next Level because it is just amazing. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna sign off now. Have a blessed week, everybody. I'm praying for everyone who watches this video, anyone who visits my blog, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Have a great week.